The name Holy Roman Empire is remarkably wrong. It was neither holy nor Roman, and let's be real, it wasn't an empire either. But we are not here today to discuss the problems of medieval rulers to address their dominions correctly. Instead, we need to talk about something that pisses me off for quite some time. By the way, one of the good things about having a not monetized YouTube channel is that I can curse. And I think I waited for the right moment to do it the first time. Normally I only do videos where I think I can add something. I avoid topics that are said and done. You don't need my, of course, beautiful voice to listen to the same story again. And the name history of the Holy Roman Empire is an example for it. Everything that we need to know, we do know. But for some reason, the name gets used in a wrong way a lot of the time. For example, I really love the YouTube channel The People Profiles, but the misuse in the Barbarossa video was just too much. These guys are normally so fucking great. So, second time cursed. That is why you get a little bit of a rant this week, a historical rant. I hope this is okay. The most striking part of the name Holy Roman Empire, at least in my opinion, is the Roman. The boy emperor Romulus Augustulus had lost his crown 316 years before the coronation of Charlemagne. But the Roman Empire didn't cease to exist. The eastern part that we call Byzantine Empire was thriving. They called themselves Roman until their last days in 1453. Western crown wasn't considered to be abolished. There was just no person holding it. The Latin expression is sedis vacans, meaning the seat is empty. You might know the phrase from the papal elections. The Roman Empire couldn't have ended because it was the first kingdom after Babylon, Persia, and Greece of what we call world empire today. After the downfall of the last one, the apocalypse will happen. Well, at least according to the Christian faith, who was quite important during the Middle Ages. We can read metaphors for that in the book of Daniel. Thinkers like Jerome translated the images into the empires. Since there was no apocalypse, but the text couldn't be wrong in the eyes of the Christians, the Roman Empire still had to be in existence. So something happened for Charlemagne's coronation that is called Translatio Imperii. This is Latin again and means transfer of the empire. The Pope, as the guardian of the Western crown, transferred the empire to the Franks. If you look at a map of Europe during the early Middle Ages, a lot of names will sound strange to you, because they are basically dominions under the umbrella of the Roman Empire. The rulers basically named the regions they controlled after their tribe or their family to make it identifiable within the Roman Empire. The word king originally meant man from a noble family. The person holding it wasn't rivaling the emperor, but was his subject. However, if there is no emperor, they hold the highest office that actually exists. This means having several kings don't collide with the idea of the Roman Empire, and several what we would call nations today don't do either. Furthermore, there was supposedly Constantine's gift to the church, which formalized the idea that the Pope took on the role of an administrator for the empire in the West. This explains why it was the Roman Empire. This was the one the people believed to still live in. That the crown went to a member of a German tribe was no problem. A little fun fact for my non-German audience, there's a region called Franken or Frank in Germany as well. It's located in Bavaria. If you ever meet a person living there, he will not be happy about this fact. Don't mention it. But to return to the topic and to close this section, it wasn't the Roman Empire 2.0 in the eyes of the people. It just had an emperor again. And yes, if you follow this idea till the bitter end, the Roman Empire ended only in 1806. Since we now know why it is the Roman Empire, let's turn to the idea that it was holy. This word wasn't included in the official name until the 13th century. There's often confusion. During the late antiquity, some writers used the term Imperium Sanctum, meaning Holy Empire. One of them was the poet Gorippus, but it didn't catch on at the time. The change came because of the investiture controversy. The emperor and the pope officially fought which of them had the right to name new bishops and other clerics, but actually the conflict was about who of them was more powerful. The emperor is the only job that is a spiritual as well as a temporal position. He's the defender of the church and of the people. So here the pope had to clash at some point. The prince of the church basically won. There was a very complicated contract in 1122 to end the fights. On paper, both parties gave up the equal number of rights, but the emperor was weakened a lot by this agreement because it strengthened his princes a lot. Frederick Barbarossa decided to use a trick to win the upper hand again. He declared his empire holy. He, as its boss, was therefore the most powerful person. The Pope couldn't deny that the Roman Empire was holy. He was a part of it. We find the first appearance of the word sanctum for holy in a deed in Barbarossa's chancellery in 1157. 8 years later, Charlemagne was canonized. This again helped the emperor and wasn't anything the Pope could deny. The whole phrase, Sacrum Romanum Imperium for Holy Roman Empire, makes its first appearance in a deed dating from the year 1184. The expression, however, became the official name of the empire only in 1254. If you just focus on the Middle Ages, it was the Holy Roman Empire only during the late Middle Ages. Until then, it was the Roman Empire. At the end of the Middle Ages, the name was adapted again. The Latin words Nationes Germanicae were added, meaning of the German nation. The first time the two words were used was in 1486 in a Land Peace Act of Frederick III. Maximilian I made it official in 1512, and this time it was even in German. He invited his estates to an imperial assembly to discuss die Erhaltung des Heiligen Römischen Reiches, Teutscher, with a T instead of a D as it would be correct today, Nation, meaning the upholding of the Holy Roman Empire of the German nation. You look at everyone's favorite online encyclopedia, you find the idea that the words were added as a regional restriction. They weren't meant to be part of the name. This is wrong for the reason alone that they continued to use the new term and retired the old name. It was basically a nod to the reality that the empire didn't really control the old territories anymore, but just the German-speaking ones and a little bit more. So please, if you are talking about the empire during the Middle Ages, it was most of the time the Roman Empire. The Holy came late to the party, and the German nation came even later, which turned out to be the fate of my people. But that's a topic for another day, and maybe for another person. Feel free to talk about the Holy Roman Empire, but clarify you are using it to avoid confusion with the one from antiquity. Thanks for watching and listening my rant, and if you like more content like this, please like and subscribe.